Hi, I'm Ron Bateman, the Sheriff of Anne Arundel County. Welcome to your Anne Arundel's Most Wanted program, a program where we showcase wanted criminals, highlight open cases, and look to you for tips. You, concerned citizens, that share my same goal, and that's keeping our communities safe. You'd be proud to know that your calls have allowed us to put handcuffs on thousands of criminals. So sit back, set your DVR, or grab a pen and paper, and help do your part in catching criminals. You're watching Anne Arundel's Most Wanted.
Welcome to this month's Anne Arundel's Most Wanted. I'm Lieutenant Jennifer Gilbert Duran with the Anne Arundel Sheriff's Office. My guest, you know him, Lieutenant Ryan Frazier, Anne Arundel County Police Department. How many do you have for us today?
I brought 3 people for us today, Jen. Our first subject is Mr. Darrell Stefan Lane. Darrell Stefan Lane has a date of birth of August 25th, 1987. He is 5 foot 11 inches and weighs approximately 180 pounds. On November 17th, 2015, members of the Anne Arundel County Police Department's Western District responded to the 3100 block of Riverbend Court in Laurel to investigate a residential burglary. The suspect had entered the residence and stole numerous electronic devices. The suspect was injured at some point during the burglary and left blood evidence in the home during the incident. On December 9th, 2015, officers from the Western District responded to the 7400 block of Locust Drive in Hanover to investigate a residential burglary. Investigation showed that the suspect had entered the residence and stole numerous electronic devices along with property. Again, the suspect was injured at some point during the burglary and left blood evidence in the home during this incident as well. The Anne Arundel County Police Department's crime lab examined the blood evidence and determined that the DNA that was recovered from both of the crime scenes was a match to the known DNA of a convicted Maryland offender and career criminal identified as Darrell Stefan Lane. An arrest warrant has been issued charging Mr. Lane with the following offenses: 2 counts of first-degree burglary, 2 counts of third-degree burglary, 2 counts of fourth-degree burglary, and 2 counts of theft from $1,000 to $10,000. Lane has several last known addresses that include 2110 Brooks Drive in Forestville, 9904 Torrent Lane in Clinton, 2807 Iverson Street in Temple Hills, 3764 Wilkerson Drive in Suitland, 3452 Brinkley Road in Temple Hills, and 3400 Wood Creek Drive in Suitland. For the next case, I have some surveillance footage related to an open homicide investigation that we would like the viewers to see. On Thursday, January 7th, 2016, at approximately 8:30 p.m., Anne Arundel County Police Northern District officers responded to the area of Ritchie Highway and Belgrove Road for a male that had been stabbed. When officers arrived, they located a 44-year-old white male identified as Arnold Lee Bowman, unresponsive in the alley, suffering from multiple stab wounds. Fire department personnel rendered aid and transported the victim to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Hospital for treatment for his injuries. Mr. Bowman remained hospitalized since the attack, and on March 25, 2016, he succumbed to his injuries while in the care of a medical facility. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner located in Baltimore performed an autopsy on Mr. Bowman and ruled that his cause of death was a result of the assault in the manner being homicide. Homicide detectives canvassed the area, interviewed numerous witnesses, and were able to recover surveillance footage near the murder scene. The video that you are seeing shows the suspect chasing the victim down the alley just prior to the assault taking place. The suspect is seen wearing a hoodie-style sweatshirt and long pants at the time of the assault. Detectives are still examining recovered evidence as well as interviewing several individuals related to this case. The Anne Arundel County Police Department is offering a $10,000 reward for anyone that can provide information leading to the arrest and conviction of the persons responsible for Mr. Bowman's murder. This is still a very fluid and active investigation, and the Anne Arundel County Police Department is urging anyone with information to come forward by calling the Anne Arundel County Homicide Unit at 410-222-4731. If people with information would like to remain anonymous, they can also contact the Anne Arundel County Police tip line at 410-222-4700 or Metro Crime Stoppers. The last person we have is Marcus Jermaine Randall. Marcus Jermaine Randall has a date of birth of March 11th, 1986. He is 5 foot 6 inches tall and he weighs approximately 170 pounds. Over the past 2 months, we are experiencing a rise in daytime residential burglaries. In these burglaries, the suspect kicks in the front door and gains entry to the house and steals property, usually electronics. Detectives began to notice a possible pattern to these burglaries and saturated the Brooklyn Park area. While in the area, detectives received a tip from a citizen that they saw a black male that appeared to be looking around houses and appeared to be suspicious. Patrol officers responded along with detectives, and the male was located and identified as Marcus Randall. Randall gave detectives several different reasons for why he was in the area. However, he had no active warrants. Detectives obtained his information, and Randall had to be released at that time. Armed with his information, detectives began pulling Randall's criminal history and discovered that he had a prior burglary in 2015 in Baltimore City where he kicked in a front door. He was arrested while still inside that house, and when officers located him, he was wearing socks on his hands in an attempt to cover up fingerprints left behind. Detectives checked our pawn database and noticed that he had a pawn on May 12th where property was identified as being taken during a burglary on Candlelight Lane in Glen Burnie. On May 24th, Randall pawned an Apple TV and a GoPro that was linked to a burglary on Cremont Court in Glen Burnie. With this information, detectives were able to charge Randall with those crimes. To date, Marcus Randall currently has active arrest warrants for first-degree burglary, third-degree burglary, fourth-degree burglary, and theft from $1,000 to $10,000.
All right, for our viewers, I want to make a point. If you know where these individuals are, do not approach them. Call that number on your screen, 410-222-1490, or 911, 24 hours a day. An officer will respond out and investigate. Thank you for the brings, Lieutenant.
Always a pleasure to be
Appreciate
here. Thank you.
My next guest is Detective Sergeant Ed Kerr with MSP's Glen Burnie Barrack. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Who'd you bring for us today?
We have 3 today. Our first subject is Shelby Lynn Eileen Duncan. She's a white female, birth date of April 28th, 1995. On May 3rd of this year, troopers' attention was drawn to a 1999 Buick passenger vehicle that was operating without its headlights on in unfavorable weather conditions. The vehicle was subsequently stopped and conducted the stop in a commercial lot off of Ordnance Road. There was 2 occupants of the vehicle, of which both were subsequently arrested after a search of the vehicle for possession of heroin with the intent to distribute. After the initial charges were served on the female passenger, Miss Duncan, she was found to be giving a false name and date of birth to troopers. Subsequently, a separate arrest warrant has been issued for Ms. Duncan for several charges to include CDS possession with intent to distribute, fraud, and false statement to a police officer. MSP is currently seeking her whereabouts of a last known address she did have in Shady Lane in Pasadena. Our second subject is Sean Frederick Duffy Tyre. He's a white male, birth date of August 25th, 1986. On April 20th of this year, approximately 1:15 a.m., troopers made a traffic stop in the Annapolis area on a GMC Envoy bearing Maryland registration. This vehicle was stopped for having an inoperable tag light. The vehicle was subsequently searched on the roadside due to a probable cause, and a driver was arrested for CDS possession with the intent to distribute. The vehicle was stored and transferred back to the Glen Burnie Barrack for additional searches, at which time in the passenger's compartment where Mr. Tyler was seated, there was an additional CDS in the amount consistent with distribution. As a result of this additional search, Mr. Duffy Tyler, with the last known address of Tamarack Trail in Arnold, Maryland, has an active arrest warrant for possession with the intent to distribute cocaine, marijuana, and methamphetamines. Our last subject is a Mr. Nicholas John Korn, who's a white male, birth date of December 16th, 1981. On December 6, 2015, troopers were called to the area of Interstate 97 and the area of Route 32 for a reported vehicle crash. When the troopers arrived in that area, the vehicle had already left. However, a witness was able to provide a tag number of the striking vehicle. The vehicle was registered to a male subject in the Odenton area, coming back to a Mr. Korn. Troopers responded to that registered address and found Nicholas John Corn still seated behind the wheel in his driveway with the vehicle still running and significant damage to the vehicle consistent with a recent vehicle crash. Mr. Corn was asked to exit the vehicle, at which time he had difficulty keeping balance and speaking. Field sobriety exercises were offered and Corn completed them poorly. He was subsequently arrested for DUI, and during the arrest and incident search of the vehicle, heroin and paraphernalia were located in his pockets. Currently, Corn has an active arrest warrant for possession of CDS. Corn's last known address was on Retreat Court in Odenton, Maryland.
All right, viewers, if you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals, do not approach them. Call 911 24 hours a day or that phone number on the bottom of your screen, 410-222-1490. Sergeant, appreciate it. My next guest, she's a regular. It's Corporal Amy Magus, Annapolis Police Department. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Who have you brought today?
I've got 3 today. The first one is Kyle Matthew Caleb. His date of birth is October 14th, 1989. He's a Caucasian male, 6 feet tall, weighing 158 pounds, with brown hair and hazel eyes. His last known address is 38617 Chaptico Road in Mechanicsville. He has 1 open warrant. It's a bench warrant for failing to appear in court for a driving while suspended charge. On May 5th, 2015 at 2 p.m., a patrol officer in the area of Forest Drive and Cobblestone Court saw a gray Jeep Grand Cherokee operating in an unsafe manner. The Jeep switched lanes repeatedly, overtaking several vehicles, and tailgated another vehicle at a high rate of speed. The patrol officer stopped the Jeep and found that the driver, Kyle Caleb, had his Maryland driving privilege suspended. Caleb was cited for driving while suspended, and this warrant was issued when Caleb failed to appear in court on August 19th, 2015. Second subject we have is Marianne Elizabeth Graves. She also goes by Marianne Graves and Taylor and Bitsy. Her date of birth is September 18th of 1966. She's an African-American female, 5 foot 6 inches tall, weighing 169 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Her last known address is 1456 Tyler Avenue in Annapolis, and she has an open warrant, bench warrant for failing to pay a fine for driving without a license. In this case, an officer from the Annapolis Police Department was working a traffic detail for the purpose of locating aggressive drivers. The officer noticed a red Dodge Caravan driving in the dark with the headlights off. The officer stopped the vehicle, asked for the driver's license and registration. The driver was identified as Graves, and she told the officer she did not have a driver's license. Graves was issued a traffic citation for driving without a license. Later, when the officer returned to the Annapolis Police Department, he discovered Graves had 2 driver's licenses through Maryland Motor Vehicle Administration. The other license showed Graves's driving privilege was revoked. She was cited for the additional offenses, but failed to pay her fine for driving without a license, and this warrant was issued. And our third subject is Ramiro Costa Lopez. His date of birth is June 26th of 1978. He's a Hispanic male, 5 foot 9 inches tall, weighing 175 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 2040 Generals Highway in Annapolis. He has a bench warrant for failing to appear in court for possession of an open container of alcohol in a vehicle. In this case, an Annapolis police officer was patrolling the area of West Street and Lee Street when the officer saw a green Ford Explorer driving without headlights after dark. The officer stopped the Ford and found it occupied by 3 male subjects. One of the men, identified as Costa Lopez, threw a carton of beer and several beer cans into the far rear of the vehicle and then attempted to conceal the items with a jacket. There were a total of 22 open beer cans in the vehicle, and all 3 men, including Costa Lopez, were cited for possessing open beers in the vehicle. Costa Lopez failed to come to court on this charge, and this warrant was issued.
Okay, failure to appear for court makes a significant portion of what we have for warrant backlog. Appreciate it, Amy.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And now for those individuals wanted by the Arundel Sheriff's Office. Our first subject is Charles Christopher Tennell. Tennell currently has 3 open warrants. On July 8th of 2015, he was on probation for a prior theft and CDS case. failed to appear for court, failed to abstain from alcohol and drugs, and illegally possessing, using, selling any narcotic, drug, controlled substance, or related paraphernalia gets your probation revoked. A bench warrant was issued as a result. On July 8th, he violated his probation for another prior theft case, and another bench warrant was issued. On January 4th of 2016, he was violated on yet another prior theft case, and the third bench warrant was issued. Today, we are looking for Charles Christopher Tennell, who is a 24-year-old white male with a date of birth of May 11th of 1990. He is 5 foot 6 inches tall, weighs 220 pounds, and has brown hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 5184 Mountain Road in Pasadena. My next subject is Sean Paul Jones. Jones currently has 8 open warrants. 8. On December 17th of 2015, Jones failed to appear for his prior theft case. A bench warrant was issued. On January 8th of 2016, he picked up an arrest warrant for new charges, unlawful taking of a motor vehicle. Getting permission to use someone's car is smart. Refusing to return it as agreed, not so much. On February 4th of 2016, Jones failed to appear for a CDS and paraphernalia case. Another bench warrant was issued. On February 26th, Jones failed to appear for his CDS possession of paraphernalia case. Another bench warrant was issued. Same day, different CDS case, another bench warrant. Same day, and yet another CDS paraphernalia case, you know it, bench warrant rolled out. And another case, another bench warrant, and another, yes. That's plus 5 warrants in one day. Wow. Today we are looking for Sean Paul Jones, who is a 31-year-old white male with a date of birth of July 18th of 1984. He is 6 foot 2 inches tall, weighs 172 pounds, and has brown hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 1125 Broadview Drive in Annapolis. And my last subject, Shalonda Rochelle Nix. Nix currently has 5 open warrants. On November 9th of 2015, a member of the Lansdowne Riverview Recreation Council applied for charges against Nix, who is a fellow council member, after several unauthorized withdrawals were made from the council's recreation account. It was estimated more than $22,000 had been removed by Nix. Story is, Nix withdrew money out of the Lansdowne Riverview Recreational Council account for her personal use and without the knowledge of nor permission from the council. When confronted by another council member, Nix allegedly stated she was sorry and that she wanted to put it all back before anyone noticed it was missing. On December 21st of 2015, county police applied for charges against Nix. Their application for charges included attempted theft, forgery, and issue of false document for every event Nix passed unauthorized checks, 18 counts in total. An arrest warrant was issued as a result. On February 2nd of 2016, county police applied for charges against her for theft, $10,000 to $100,000, and theft scheme for same. An arrest warrant was issued. Additionally, Nix has a Baltimore County FTA warrant for theft, $10,000 to $100,000, that was issued on March 8th of 2016, and an outstanding parole retake warrant. Today we are looking for Shalonda Rochelle Nix, who is a 40-year-old black female with a date of birth of February 24th of 1976. She is 5 foot 8 inches tall, weighs 180 pounds, and has brown hair and brown eyes. Her last known address is 202 Hill Avenue, Lot A in Brooklyn. Okay, for the viewers, I want to remind you one more time, if you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals, do not approach them. Call that number on your screen, 410-222-1490, or 911, 24 hours a day. An officer will respond and follow up. On behalf of Sheriff Ron Bateman, I'd like to share our appreciation for those individuals that allow our show to happen every month. County Executive Steve Shue, Anne Arundel Chief of Police Tim Altamari, Annapolis Chief of Police Mike Prieststoop, Maryland State Police Superintendent Colonel Bill Palazzi, and the individual behind that camera, our editor, Dale Boyer. So thanks for joining us this month. Hope to see you next month on Anne Arundel's Most Wanted.